All
Can you
right.
guys do it now? Give us
Let's
a yay,
see.
nay. You turn the volume up?
With that hanging out of my mouth, we're ready to go now, folks.
Oh yeah, I can.
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear peeps.
Yay!
Okay, cool.
Oh wait, we just got a FML from our Lord and Savior, so.
Well, yeah.
Okay, okay, so we're good to go. See, our Lord talks to us, so there's that. Anyway, happy Friday.
It's hot.
You guys, it is 99 weeks this week. 99 weeks. You can see some of the pieces are, it's like silver to the bottom.
That's crazy.
I know this lighting is horrible. I really should change it. I just like the way my face looks in this lighting, which is very vain of me. But I can change it and make it so that you guys can see how silver it is. Look at that. Look at that. Before we get into some serious conversations, we'll look at how beautiful and silver my hair is. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
That's a good way to start it.
Yay. It's been fun sharing this journey.
I don't have any silver hair yet. Mine's still just, dark brown.
But when you do, we will get capes that match for sure.
Yes.
And I mean it.
I'm hoping to have like a good song. I always mean it when it comes to capes. You know that.
Me too. Capes are serious.
Yeah.
You can't be a superhero without a cape. I mean, you can, but
there's Flash.
Yeah. I have like 3 pair of Flash socks, so yeah, I'm with you on that.
So do I, except I think I actually have 4. So.
Oh, well, so you win.
It's the Flash. It's always a race. All right. So what are we supposed to be talking about?
Okay.
Yeah. So there is there's a judge that's ordering LA to clean up its streets by I think it's October 18th. Yeah, October 18th. Let me read here from the Los Angeles Times. Judge David O. Carter It's not O Carter, it's O Carter. My bad.
He's Irish.
Granted, not
No,
Irish.
I'm just kidding. I don't really know.
Preliminary injunction sought by the plaintiffs in the case last week, and now is telling the city and county that they must offer single women and unaccompanied children on Skid Row a place to stay within 90 days, help families within 120 days, and finally by October 18th, offer every homeless person on Skid Row housing or shelter. This is pretty cool. I think this is not a bad thing. Seeing that I think last year the city spent $16 million trying to help with the homelessness crisis by ransacking the tents and cardboard homes and breaking all their shit and telling them to get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
And move somewhere else, which
within minutes
helped.
Yeah. No, they said you have how many so and so minutes to move. So that's when you see people pushing around carts with their stuff in it, that's because it might not be there when they get back.
Yeah, they gotta.
And that's just a reason. I know there's many reasons, and there's people out there that'll be like, that's not the only reason. I'm talking to you, that person.
Yeah. It's really cool how they make laws so they can let cops harass people and steal things and break personal property. But homeless people can't sleep on the streets.
They're not allowed to be homeless, but
No,
nobody's going
it's
to give
illegal.
them a place to live.
Yeah.
So.
And we can give subsidies to banks who will take away their houses. And
Oil companies.
And then keep the profit of the house.
Pharmaceutical companies, manufacturing companies.
Trickle down.
I mean, I could just keep going. Right.
Anyways, yeah, so that's something that's going on. Last I heard, the city is looking at trying to fight the judge on this. So they
are. The judge, his name is David Carter. Yep. I know that he is O Carter, right? But he's known in the area as David Carter. Whenever you say Judge David Carter, everyone there knows who he is. People are actually the people are on his side. He wants homelessness, all of the homelessness, all of the homeless humans in LA to have homes or a type of dwelling that can be considered by law a living dwelling.
Yes.
No later than October of this year. And he wants this to be the entire Skid Row area. We're talking about 65,000 homeless people minimum. You guys, California is the 5th largest economy on the planet. There's no reason they can't do this.
Yeah.
I did want to add there have been, on average, between 1,200 and 1,600. So that's 1,200 to 600 deaths of homeless people on the street each year in LA.
Yeah. Yes. So
the judge, did you add that he wants to add not just homes, but healthcare? Like that's part of it. Yes, and in his legislation that he wrote, in order to be a part of this program and be placed in a home, you have to participate in healthcare, mental, group therapy, all of it, until you get a slip saying that this person isn't mentally ill. They might need therapy because of what happened a long time ago, or this person is actually healthy, doesn't need any mental health. However, he needs a physical and he needs medicine. They have to be a part of this. But this judge went above and beyond he is a hero right now to me. My floor was on the jaw There you go.
This is incredibly important.
Shut up
because
over there,
this is
peanut gallery.
this is never like a single topic issue, right? Living on the streets is not good for your mental health at all. It's not good for morale, to say the least. And
Right.
it's I think it's fine to call for a psych evaluation, and then the government should like supply that. Like they should take care. Like they should see how these people are doing mentally because it can't be good,
No,
and we should get them
I
help.
was on the jaw, Chris.
The mayor of Los Angeles, I forget his name. Um, he said that they plan on spending $1 billion to help solve the homeless crisis in Los Angeles just a few weeks ago, I believe. And that judge said that he wants that $1 billion put into an escrow account so it can be monitored.
Uh-huh.
The mayor said, well, we don't even necessarily have that $1 billion. It's not like it's, well, he just backtracked.
Right.
He backtracked. Saying,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that $1 billion. Makes you wonder what he was going to spend it on, if he was going to spend it and where he was going to get it. And again, how he was going to spend it. But that's what the judge is ordering, is for that $1 billion to be put into an escrow account so it can all be accounted for, which is should have been the baseline anyways. Should have been the baseline anyways. Should have been the best baseline anyways. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Repeating myself. Yeah, so right now I think that's about all you need to know. Is there anything else you want or need to add?
I'm in awe of this Judge David O'Carter is very hard for my mouth to say. So, no, you did a great job. I think, we covered the 65,000 people will be in homes by October if this goes through. And if it doesn't, shame on the people who stood in the way of this, because I think that they're vile creatures.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy with this. This is an important story. It needs to be shared.
Yes.
Because it really is an important thing. I'm gonna put the link down below here, so you guys can see the Los Angeles Times story, and we can move on to the next topic.
Next.
I'm waiting for the little bar to change because, oh yes, now I remember what it is. That's why.
Oh, that thumbnail is everything. Because we all of us, everyone that's in this chat could go have a scavenger hunt and come up with these outfits within the next couple hours. We can make our own shields. We've got duct tape. We got this. And then we can march in the streets and put dumb, idiot, white supremacists will not replace us over and over and over again with tiki torches. Okay, I'm just being silly. And we're not on that one yet, apparently. So I like to skip ahead. Still, that thumbnail is everything. And that's what I see in front of me.
All right. Well, what we do
Rick
have
Wiles.
Ugh. I'm trying to pull up the story. All right. Good old Rick Wiles. He did a cool little bit on Right Wing Watch the other day, and oh, cool, great! I have the exact quotes. I'll just go ahead and quote him here on the show. He said that I am not going to be vaccinated. Wiles said, I'm going to be one of the survivors.
Sorry.
I'm going to survive the genocide.
Oh.
Getting interesting. I'm not going to allow the COVID maniacs to convince me to be vaccinated or vaccinate me against my will. He continued, I know what I'm reading. I know what I'm seeing. There is a mass death campaign underway right now. Um,
Sorry.
he sees what's happening, all the death.
Oh.
Where's Becky? Died of vaccines. That's the thing Wiles hears them say. All right. Next quote is, and I don't care what people say. They can write any article they want to write about me. He continues, the only good thing that will come out of this is a lot of stupid people will be killed off. If the vaccine wipes out a lot of stupid people, well, we'll have a better world. I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive by God's grace, by his will. I'm going to survive the genocide. Stay humanist, for God's sake.
Right.
That was a lot. Like, I get, cool, if you don't want to be vaccinated, that's one thing. That's fine enough. No one's forcing you to do that. If you think people are going to die from it, I don't think you should be cheering it on. That's arguably that's not very Christian of you. It's not very good.
While researching this, because you told me you were going to talk about it, I could not find anything he said that didn't make my stomach want to throw up everything that was in it.
Yeah.
He's a horrible excuse for a human. So maybe if everybody that gets the vaccine is the ones to make it, and then all the dumb people will be dead. Yeah. If he's the only one, of course. As a humanist, I would only want it to be him, the dumb one.
So a bottom little thing down here.
That's not the definition of humanism, and I'm being facetious,
No.
by the way. Just want to put that out there.
I kind of read on down here at the bottom, just for fun, this says, sounds about right for a guy who thinks that if you drink your city's water, you're drinking unborn babies.
That's for sure. I helped put some there, I'm sure.
You put some there? It just reminds me of just like a whole bunch of dudes just jerking off.
But there's also pee and poo and rotting corpse that are disintegrating. There's, rusting things that have been thrown in the water, murder weapons. You're drinking all of that.
The city's filtration takes care of all of that except the semen.
Except for the semen. Yes. They just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
They're coming for you.
I'm never drinking water without a filter again. Not ever.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about that? I don't think we need to comment too much on it.
I would never, Smitty, by the way, in the chat. I would never. Our love child is sacred. It will be the future Lord. That's not how babies happen, by the way. We'll talk about that later, though.
No, we're not going to talk about that later. That's not on our list tonight.
Not on LEAH. It'll be a private birds and bees conversation.
You have to plan that if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Right,
moving on. He is that vile, though. He's a vile person.
Did you say Pyovile?
Yeah, Pyovile. Exactly what I said.
Miles?
I said vile twice, but Pyovile sounds so much more fun.
Vile Wiles.
Yeah, I like it. That's his new name. Cheers. Cheers
Woo,
to him.
good. That miscommunication really pulled through.
And for all that semen in the water, I'll put some nuts in my mouth. Nothing like nuts in my mouth.
It's better than water semen. Or semen water.
It really is nuts.
Well, yeah.
Nuts in my mouth.
I believe you when you talk about nuts.
That's good.
That's good.
I take nuts very seriously.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Honey roasted nuts are pretty good though.
Like that's like the second time you've ever lied on Leah.
Damn it. And I got caught both times.
Yeah.
I gotta work on it here.
Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground.
Look at like that. Standing on the wall like I was Poindexter.
Oh, hey. I sent out a little short last week, and I had a thing. I had a thing there on the short. It was a quote. It was strength through. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I got it. Strength through unity and unity through faith. What is that quote from? Do you know? I'll give you guys a minute while I look on our other video real quick and see if anyone got it.
Bile pile.
That was pretty.
Yes.
Let me see if anyone got it in the comments.
What about old troll? Arby, so funny. Oh,
I'll put it down
you
below.
guys just keep me entertained.
And Native Atheist and Smitty both.
Native's fantastic. Love seeing Native in our chat. Everyone that's here is just so much fun, by the way. I keep looking down because I know I'm gonna laugh, which is interrupting, but it's not you guys' fault that you're so entertaining.
It's not. That doesn't sound totalitarian. Of course not. Okay, all right. So I'll go ahead and give you guys the answer, and then we'll move on. It's from V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta.
Yes.
It's the government's motto: strength through unity and unity through strength.
It's a great movie. It's a very, very, very good movie. The first time I saw it, I needed to watch it a second time, like immediately the next day.
Yeah, there's so much to take in.
And then I didn't watch it again for a couple years, and then I watched it twice again.
At one point, I sat down before I had my own computer and just wrote down the entire speech of V's. I have it in a notebook.
Yes.
Every word that I didn't know, which was a majority of those V words, I looked up in a dictionary. It was very
good for
fun.
you.
It was a really good time. And that speech is very, very well written.
The entire storyline is well written.
Yeah, it is. All right, so that's it. The actual topic, not just the movie quote. So, is diversity a good thing? We're not just talking about white replacement theory. That is one of the main things that we will be referencing and kind of jumping back to. But is diversity a good thing? Or is it a bad thing? That's something that I want to discuss with Christy tonight, see what we can come up with. I really do want to try to give some some cons along with the pro. I want to be honest because obviously we're both pretty pro diversity, right?
Mhm.
That goes without saying. But I do want to try and give it a go here and try and steel man opposing arguments. So, Christy, is there anywhere you'd like to start? Or you want me to just take it away?
Take it away.
Take it away. Take a drink. I'm gonna need more. All right. There's I did some research on this. Thank goodness, right? And I'll tell you where I started. I started with the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that would be a good place to start, to just kind of get myself in a good mindset for the
Lots
day.
of warm fuzzies.
Yeah. As I was telling Rachel earlier today, I'm like, you know what? There's this really sweet old couple who likes to make Klan robes together, and the old woman won't cut the holes in the eye, which are very important because they need to be in the right spot and the right cut. So the old man does that part because it's important, and her hands are shaky. So it's a team effort. It's really nice. It's really warm, fuzzy. Starting there. There's
No one knew this was a love story.
right? Humanize the opposition. And thank you, RB. Everyone hit like while I'm talking about the Ku Klux Klan. I've noticed that while watching any of these, there's obviously a power struggle, right? There's a struggle with authority with a lot of the people who enter the Ku Klux Klan or join the Ku Klux Klan. That's the word. Enter or join. I was a little shocked to notice this time around that some of the propaganda that they had shared had the KFC affiliated with it. That's the Knights of Columbus, and it really struck me this time because this is the second or third time that I've listened to one of the documentaries that I listened to, and I usually listen, but I got to watch some today as well, and I did get to see some of the propaganda that they use, which is always interesting. They have the Knights of Columbus, and something, if you didn't know this, the Klan tends to, besides using a lot of terminology that sounds like it's from D&D, they also refer to themselves as knights, like the old knights of this or that, or potentially like the Knights of Columbus.
Or the NITE because they don't know how to spell.
The NITs.
I'm being mean. I'm sorry. I'm sure some of them know how to grammar.
Some of them know. Yeah.
It's important.
And sometimes you're more or less born into it.
Yes,
as well, right?
You are. Yes, you are.
It's
your grandpappy was, your pappy was, your daddy was. Yeah.
Yeah. It is very unlikely, it seems, by watching the stuff that I have watched, that you are secretly in the Ku Klux Klan, like secretly as in your family doesn't know. It takes a certain amount of pride to join the Klan, and people don't tend to hide it from their wives, and a lot of times, like the wives or the husbands will join, and then their kids will, and like any ideology, it can be pervasive through generations. And when you get an education that tells you that the white race is special, You're God's chosen people, and
Mm,
this
like
land
the
is
Jews.
like the Jews. Yeah, it can.
Funny how they hate each other.
Yeah. Well, in the 1920s, there were a lot of Jews who joined the Klan.
That should be a whole other show. I know so much about that. That is so fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And now it looks like it's a little bit factioned. I don't know about the Klan so much, but I know that some white supremacist groups really include Jews and Italians and Irish and whatnot, and some don't.
Like
Right?
the Boogaloo Boys.
They're like the Boogaloo Boys. So some are more racist than others. Some don't just go by race, which is another thing that I'll be getting to here in a moment. Uh, but it really is interesting, and I encourage all of you to look up a documentary and actually listen to them, because um, we tend to do the same thing to them as they do to us. Like, we dehumanize them, and just look at them as the bad guys. And I absolutely agree that their ideology is the bad guy here. But I mean, a lot of, as Rick Wiles would put it, stupid people, um, they're just victims of bad ideology, and it needs to be remedied. I'll have to bring this up a few times tonight, and it always makes me a little uncomfortable, but it's always worth saying. I really am a proponent of free speech. I even think that the Ku Klux Klan should have some kind of representation.
Yes, I'm a free. Sorry, boobs, everyone. I'm a free speech absolutist
Who's talk?
myself.
Yeah,
my boobs have. My boobs are free speech absolutists,
and they have
both
opinions.
titty and tiny.
um, I think they need to be represented in our democracy, because they're not just insignificant portion of our population. If we want a representative democracy, we need to have all ideologies represented, because bad ideas grow in the dark. And if we continue to just push them down and seclude them, then they will stay secluded and grow um, away from
Yeah.
everything else until they have enough power and frustration festered up to go out and make a
You
difference.
said it right. Festered. It will fester.
Will
It'll
fester.
fester like a wound and get stinkier and stinkier until it's rotten.
Yeah, and that rot spreads. Um, when there are Black Lives Matters protests going on, and people get scared and they don't understand what's going on because we don't actually talk about real issues in our society, that's when Klan numbers tend to go up. Um, people call people they know that are in the Ku Klux Klan, and they say they want to join because they feel like their white privilege is under attack. And
Yeah.
the only safe place you can say things like that they know of is the Klan. Um,
Mhm.
this is a common thing, and if we make it grow in the dark, we are letting it grow in the dark. Um, you can fight bad ideas, harmful ideas, with good ideas, peaceful ideas. But if you
Out in
don't,
the open.
out in the open,
Out in the open. Yes. That way, the crowds that may or may not be watching at the time will eventually, because everyone has cameras now, eventually watch it somewhere, will be able to watch it without being emotionally involved. Just like watching street epistemology. It'd be hard to be the one questioning, and it would be hard to be the one being questioned because you feel you're being attacked. But if you're just watching it, you're gaining that knowledge. And it's so important to do these things in public so that the people that are watching can say, that isn't a good idea. There isn't good reason behind it. Actually, logic doesn't follow there, or they have a good, actually, that's right. And white people in this country have lost a lot of jobs and are hurting, especially in Appalachia, in many places. And I can understand them being at their last fucking straw and saying, there's nothing else for me to do. At least they're offering brotherhood. I get it. As a human, I get it. It's just the wrong choice. Hatred is never the right choice. It just isn't. And to hate others for being born, that they had no control over it. You can't hate people for something they have no control over. I mean, you can, but you're a bigoted douchewad. So, and that's a
All
technical
right, yeah.
scientific term. You can find it in it's been peer reviewed.
Yeah. So I tried to look up some charts here of population by race.
Yes.
And there's obviously a little bit of propaganda out there.
You think?
Oh yeah.
I try.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, sometimes it's, I mean, when you don't have a long time to look at these, it's hard to know which ones you can trust because
It is.
You don't need to lie a lot to make a point, right?
You don't. Yeah, you don't need to lie, and then you can end the
So,
sentence.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You guys can always send me, here's a topic I'm interested in. I'm looking at all these articles and they don't seem right to me. Do you have a suggestion? And I have no problem of taking 10, 15 minutes out of my day and looking up more than one if I can find them, or at least one that you can count on to be a truthful analysis of what happened. I love doing that actually. So it wouldn't be putting me out. It would be like, oh yes, someone wants actual knowledge. I got this. And I tie my cape on, which is just a bed sheet for now. However, but then I get shit done.
what color bed sheet is it?
Does it matter?
It kind of does, actually.
The clean one.
It's a clean color. It's fine. Wait, is it
Fitted
white?
ones don't work, by the way.
Which ones don't?
The fitted ones.
Fitted ones.
Yeah, no, they get stuck on your feet when you're trying to turn.
Yeah.
I heard from a friend.
We all know that.
Okay. Phew.
Yeah. We've all been there. All right. So one of the best graphics that I saw is U.S. population, or the total U.S. population, kind of percentaged here by race for 2000, 2010, and 2019. And here they are for the, go backwards. Latino or Hispanic is 12.6% of the population in 2000. Also in 2000, it says +2 and other races is just 1.7 or 17. I can't even read that. A very small percentage. For Asian American, it is 3.8. For American Indian, Alaskan Native, that would be a 0.07% of the population, which is the saddest amount. And for Black, it's 12.1% of the population. And for white, it's 69.1% of the population. 10 years later, 2010, it went from 12.6 to 16.4 in the Latino or Hispanic. And I'll skip some of these smaller ones here. The yellow one that I can't even read any of these. Asian American went from 3.8 to 4.9, and the Black population went from 12.1 to 12.3. And the white went from 69.1 to 63.8%. In 2019, almost a decade later, it went from, for the Latino and Hispanic race, it went from 12.6 to 16.4 in 2010, and then 2009 it was 18.5. So that population grew pretty steadily. For the Asian American, it went from the 4.9 in 2010 to the 5.9, so a whole percentage up. And it went from 12.3 in 2010 to 2019, 12.5 for the Black population. And for the white population, it was 60.1%. So it steadily decreased over time. And I also have for underage or underage 16 population, but those trends just continued. So non-white populations are growing percentage-wise as the white population is shrinking population-wise.
Yep.
So let me give you a little 2019 census information here. I think you guys will find this interesting. And I wrote this out how I heard it. 2019 census concluded that 40% of the US population is non-white. Majority of persons under 16 are non-white. There are 109 counties nationwide that went from majority white to majority non-white. And in Tampa, 44% of people are white, 24% of people are Black, and 25% are Hispanic. And
that's why Tampa's so awesome, by the way, you guys.
Tampa is awesome.
And why it was such a culture shock moving from small town Midwest to Tampa. Because I was like, where am I? And nobody is speaking what I speak. And none of them are speaking the same language either. So, like, I'm going to need help here.
Also, where's all the corn?
No, exactly. That has to be imported. What would be very cheap up there is not down here. But here, strawberries, as many as you can pick, you can bring whatever you want. A bucket, a basket, whatever you can carry, you can pick for $5.
There you go. Dig it. I want some strawberries.
Mm-hmm. I eat them and then put them in the basket. Eat them, put them in the basket. I think that's stealing. I just said that it's recorded.
It's fine. It's fine. Still some
They're delicious. It's not my fault. They shouldn't taste so good.
It's not your fault. The last thing in the set of statistics that I heard, which I thought was a little telling, is 1 in 5 people in Florida. 1 in 5 people are over the age of 65, but those numbers are decreasing. So you can tell who they're really trying to scare with all of this info. White old people who are afraid of their legacies and their offspring. So there is a trend that the percentage of white people is going down in this country. But is that a bad thing? Is diversity a good thing? That's something all on its own, right?
I mean, okay, the way my mind works is we all evolved somewhere in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. We were all what color? All the same. And then we migrated, and through evolution and lots of time, the ones who made it long enough to have children and their children who made it long enough to have children, and so on and so on, we all understand how evolution works, are the ones who were able to adapt. If you moved, let's see, the Vikings were pale. Why? Because they didn't have sun for 6 freaking months of the year. I mean, this is the way that happens. To me, a human is a human is a human. So what, evolution is changing again, and my lifetime I won't see it. My daughter's lifetime she'll see more of it, but her great grandchildren are going to be able to see evolution completely change humanity all over again, and it's actually a beautiful thing. If I pull up any, I love looking at old books. Say we won't even go that far. 1912. Not even 100, I mean a little bit over 100 years ago. And you open the book to when people were building railroads and rebuilding the country. And there's a group of people who set up there with a whole bunch of lean-tos. That's what they were living in, so that they could set up these, towns. They're stoic and fucking creepy looking. They just are. Just 100 years later, any random group building any random just homes for humanity, just because of the mixing and all the different DNA that we all share, we've become more physically attractive. And I don't think that that's like the be all end all. It really isn't. Smarter would be better, although we have gotten we've gotten a lot of smarter.
Surely
we have
hope.
We've gotten a lot smarter, and we know this through evolution as well, because women have such a hard time giving childbirth. The head and the shoulders are so hard because the brain is getting so big. When we were bent and we walked on all fours, our hips were different. And having babies, like I just witnessed, there's a cat on my porch with 6 brand new babies who are 11 or 12 days old. If anybody's looking to adopt, please help us adopt these kittens to a forever home. We'll work the logistics to get them to you. I'll send you pictures. You can pick the one you want. They're all amazing. I named one Bamboo. I'm sorry, I didn't need to name it, but I had to. But he can't stay. So, but anyway, watching her give birth, I could feel a contraction come on, and she's laying to her side, and she'd meow. It hurt, and it would come out. That's not what I experienced. That's not what most women experience. It's a lot of work, and I'm not saying it wasn't for her too. It took 23 hours to have 6 kittens. It took me 3.5 days to have a kitten. I mean, a human. Whatever, same thing. Mammal's a mammal.
Rub it up against.
I'm a mammalist, okay? Fuck humanism. Nah, all living things
Hashtag not bestiality.
No. Although centaurs are pretty cool, and I don't know how they came to being. However,
someone gave a fuck.
I'm not saying I would let one ride me. I'm saying I would ride one of them. Let's just put that out there.
Knew where that was going.
You know me too well. Oh, yes, in Florida. Florida's known for being the home of the newlywed or nearly dead. I mean, there's t-shirts that sell it. It's not a secret. People come really young or really old to retire. And there are news. You can walk by any old person's home, any old person's apartment, and they have Fox News blaring. So yeah, it makes sense. And what keeps people glued to the TV more than anything else?
Tucker Carlson?
Well, yeah, Fear. Tucker Fear Carlson. I call him Tucker. Tucker Carlson is so much better.
The Yellow Lantern of Earth.
Oh, he knows how to go to the line of white supremacy and
Oh,
like
yeah.
do a little tap dance on it, but then come back and say something that kind of negates it so that he can have that to fall back on. And I just hope he falls on his sword one of these days. Hold on, let me say that correctly. His sword.
Sword. Thank you for saying it like that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a
I thought I was
sword.
the only one. I like being wrong. Um, yeah, and looking up anything on this uh, racial topic, there was so much Tucker Carlson that I just skipped. I skipped every single thing because it's too easy. Too easy. I wanted to find some different things, but that's like the first shit that pops up. So think about this. That could mean that people accuse him of being a white supremacist all the time. That could also mean
Yeah.
that when people look up these theories, they see Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be mutually exclusive. Um, yeah, that's a
And to
thing.
know where he comes from. He acts like he's just the regular man's man. His family comes from the Hungry Man Frozen Dinner dynasty. He had butlers wiping his ass until he was, out of school.
It's pretty crazy.
Right. He has no idea what a regular person goes through.
No,
No. So, no.
he's probably never even eaten a Hungry Man. Probably had home cooked meals every day.
Yeah, why would he? That's for poor people who have to work. That's
Oh,
how it was sold when it came out. It was women, it was women's lib. Now we have all these new technologies. Women can go to work and dinner can be ready really easy. You don't have to slave all day. You can just pop it in the oven and everybody can enjoy watching television together as a family. Yep. And then we get Tucker Carlson.
at what cost? Convenience always has a price.
It does, dang it.
So, all right. Staying on this here.
Yes.
Um, I did some reading and I thought it was worth going over here. Um, diversity in the workplace. I read a couple of articles and I just briefly wrote out a couple pros and cons of diversity in the workplace. Um, pros: creativity, language skills, uh, cultural input may diversify sales, and increased understanding in the workplace for problem solving and such. Cons: miscommunications. This could be due to um, um, language. If diversity is not, um, what's the word I was about to use? I apologize. Fostered, handled well. Um, differences in problem solving and differences can cause productivity to slow or halt. It hurts morale and can cause conflict in the workplace. This is stuff that I've read from a few different sources, and it seems pretty, right? Like pretty easy. Like you don't need to sell anyone on this stuff. If you don't manage diversity in the workplace in business, it can cause problems, right? Some people really do need that sensitivity training. Some people need to be reminded that you don't discriminate based on culture, race, politics, religion, any of that jazz, right? And some people are just so not cultured
Yeah, they never seen a person that didn't look like them their entire life until they got out in the real world, and they don't know what to do except
Yeah.
for make a horribly inappropriate joke.
Yeah. So not to be a self-hating white person, but uh, you can have racism, with a colored person. Like you can have a black person who grows up hating white people because of what white people have done to them. Self-hating white person. Um,
Or from what they've seen growing up, how their family's been treated, how
see,
they've been treated
or
in
her,
school.
yeah. And then when they enter the workplace, they don't know how to put that aside to not
Right?
um, judge people based on the color of the skin, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you need to do. You need to set your differences aside so you can basically follow protocols. Um, and if you don't have patience with people who are not like yourself, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're black, Hispanic, so on and so forth. It's it can be difficult. It can just be difficult because you have different ideals, you have mistrust, and that's why it usually comes down to the companies don't manage it very well,
Right.
or sometimes it is just too small of a business to really try to diversify. Because if you try uh, to have more diversity in a smaller community or smaller business, sometimes it is really hard because you are pulling from people
Very,
who are not diverse.
very
Um,
I worked at a salon that was I mean, it was all white women and one Puerto Rican boy, but I mean, he might as well have been, just one of us, another one of us girls. And we hired a beautiful, I'm still really good friends with her. I'm not going to name drop her, or anything like that. I'm still really good friends with her. She's a stunning woman, black woman, and I adored her. We had so much fun, so many jokes. We would have so much fun in the break room, and she was right next to me, and so we had lots of conversations with clients, with each other. When she wasn't there, the way the other girls would talk about her, it was like they were talking about someone different that I didn't know. She ended up leaving that job because it was so unhealthy for her. So yeah, it's disgusting, and I was ashamed to be a part of a business that would make one person feel so inadequate because of the way they were born.
yeah,
I think they were just a bunch of jealous bitches because she was learning so fast.
yeah,
And there's some racism and bigotry too. I'm not
yeah,
going to leave that out.
right. And it really is a shame. But I do want to acknowledge, because like I said, I'm going to try to steel man the opposition here. Um,
Good luck.
Sometimes it doesn't work. There are
Yeah.
some instances where, given best intentions and what may be best for the national gander, um, it just doesn't work on smaller scales. Um, and again, that really does suck, because I think that the pros are real pros that you see in society, not just in business, in the workplace. You you can learn new language skills. You can learn about other cultures,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just increase
Salsa,
your understanding. Um,
merengue. We wouldn't have any of these rumba. We wouldn't have any of these dances. The tango. We wouldn't have any of these things without diversity. I don't think that those things will go away though if we
yeah.
all end up. I just don't.
Um, Interesting thing in comic books. Isaiah Bradley. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No. But maybe if I saw his face. I'm
Black
horrible with.
Captain America.
Hmm?
Black Captain America.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Uh,
Told you I'm horrible. I'm horrible with names, but you show
okay.
me.
they just featured this character Isaiah Bradley, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, and Isaiah Bradley was in the comics a long time ago, and throughout comic book history, you could kind of see Isaiah Bradley brought up every now and then, but only in like the Black community of the comic book world.
Right.
Like that's who knew of Isaiah Bradley, because white people just kind of didn't want to know. It was an inconvenient fact, not just that there was a Black Captain America, but how poorly we treated this icon. It's quite this fictional
One of
story.
many.
Yeah, but it has its merits in reality, because when you diversify, and if you get one Black friend that you didn't have before,
Right.
you learn something different about history. And this is going to get to a wider topic, and I'll go ahead and let it.
Wider or wider?
Why? Oh, Christy, that was good.
See what I did there?
See it. I'm proud of you. That was very funny. Those who win wars write history, right?
Yeah.
We've heard that. And it's pretty darn true. But if there's any survivors on the other side, daughters of the Confederacy or Native Americans,
Mm-hmm.
they will still pass down their history as they see it, and you can learn something. I was talking today to my girlfriend. Oh no, I have a Charlie horse. I'm gonna stand back and continue my talking. About
I'll walk it out. I'll walk it out.
owie. That sometimes, like, I don't care what you believe. I care why you believe it. It's a little more important to me.
Same.
But I do. I mean, I do care what you believe. I do care what the daughters of the Confederacy believe, because this is interesting. Those are stories. That's a view of history. Because those who write wars, or I'm sorry, write wars, win wars, write history. This is something that hurts patriotism, hurts nationalism, is seeing how racist the country has been and still systematically is. It's not hard to see, but it's easy to twist. It's very easy to twist. State rights, right? Very, very easy to twist. Why things seem racist, but they're not really racist. It's kind of, you'll see this with religion as well, right? Well,
It's apologetic.
Those people are crazy, but mine is not.
Right.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that you're crazy, but like you both use the same foundation.
Right. Well, when I hear someone tell me it was states' rights, I agree. Right. Immediately with them. You're right. It was states' rights. What was the rights? What was that state's right that they were defending? What was that right?
Well, according to the governor of, I think, Virginia, it was, if we aren't fighting the Civil War for slavery, then I don't know what we're doing it for.
I remember reading that, and my floor was on the jaw again.
Yeah. It's this. You need to keep all the truth.
Yep.
You need to keep all of it. It's inconvenient to see how racist our past is.
We can't learn from it. Yeah, we can't learn from it. That's why we're where we are right now after the civil rights movement, because the majority of the country didn't get taught the proper education of the civil rights movement. The other part of the country got taught a lot of it, but not enough. And then the Black students who were fortunate enough to go to historically Black colleges got the actual information. And so it's a very small, I mean, we're talking 12 to 13% of the population are Black people in this country. So, and out of that small population, I mean, these are Ivy League, wonderful, wonderful colleges. Not everyone gets in. And so it's going to be, and this is going to probably sound racist to someone who already thinks what I'm talking about is horrible ideas, but it's going to be up to the rest of us who are not the color of the people we're fighting for to stand up and fight for those people, because there are more of us in this nation. And so for us to stand up and say, actually, there are two histories taught in this country, and we would like for this history that has untruths in it to be taken away, and this history that is taught to people who they're not afraid to teach it to because their family probably already told them. Well, let's teach all of it and world history. We don't, if we go into a country and occupy it for 20 years, that's how it should be taught in school, that we went into Afghanistan, Iraq, and we've been occupying them now. I graduated high school and didn't know Guam was part of America.
Yeah, it still surprises me every time I hear it. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that, but it's weird. It's weird because we don't learn that.
They can't vote, but they damn sure can join the military. They have, as a population, out of all of the American states, they have the most people that go into the military because there's nothing else to do. But when they get back, they still can't vote.
Nope.
I know. So
that's another thing here. I'm gonna take that rabbit trail, actually.
Buckle up.
This is
Rick and Morty. Where are you? Here you are.
Voting.
Voting
is a huge reason why there is so much anxiety in the white replacement theory.
Yes.
Because it's not just the race, it's the culture, right? They don't want more progressive or different ideas pervading our white culture that is majoritively dominated the United States of America.
Well,
they want Christian Judeo values.
Well, would you go and fight voluntarily? Would you give up your life and fight for a country that you knew was doing illegal wars? Or would you sign up for a country who was doing God's work?
No. Can I say no to both?
Answer. That was my answer to both of those too. However, Mormons are number 2. As in this country, Mormons are the most sought out, like the military, they hang out at their high schools to get them into ROTC, to get them into the military, because they are so obedient already.
Yeah, it's true. They are.
And they're God soldiers, and they want everyone to get their own planet and talk to Zolob or whoever that guy is. I don't know. I'm mixing them.
Yeah, that's really, Mormon does not equal Scientologist.
Same. Exactly the same, but different.
But Jesus did come to talk to the Native Americans.
Definitely.
In the Mormon Bible.
Yes. And a with lots of peyote.
Yeah. Jesus came to me in a burning bush.
You should probably go get some antibiotics for that, bro.
So this is this really is a big issue. Like the opposite of racism, I suppose, or the opposite of just supremacy. That's what I'm looking for. The opposite of supremacy is democracy.
And yeah, and humbleness and togetherness and unity and all the words that mean the opposite of divisiveness.
Yeah. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because when given time and patience with diversity, you are undoubtedly going
Inclusive.
to and undoubtedly going to get from it understanding.
I love you, Nacha.
Inclusiveness. Thank you, Nacha. And understanding is important. As I said 15 minutes ago, understanding is very important. Not what people believe, but why they believe it. Different histories. Sharing of culture is important. One of the big issues that I see with this is a huge issue. And there needs to be a little star as a reference to the end of what I'm saying.
Okay. Working on it.
So what? Thank you.
Stuck.
Sorry. One of the biggest issues with diversity, when speaking of culture, and especially religion, is actually giving equality and the freedom of religion. When you diversify your population, I would be okay with teaching religion in public schools. That would be fantastic. I want philosophy also taught.
Right.
But you would need it less than we do now.
Right.
If you taught the basics of Hinduism, the
All of
basics
them.
of Christianity, the
Mm-hmm.
basics of Zoroastrianism.
Oh, definitely. Then you start with that, and then everything else just falls into place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You teach all of it.
Yeah.
Teach
Jainism, all of it.
and it should be taught as a subset of history. Because these are,
It
it's
is
not
his.
necessarily history, but maybe we should teach about Noah's Ark like Texas wants to. And also the Epic of Gilgamesh, because sometimes it doesn't just matter what the truth is. It matters
But
why we believe it and where it comes
yeah,
from.
I think
Right?
it should be taught as literature, and it should be taught in order. So if we were going to do biblical education, we should start with the Zoroastrians, and before that Gilgamesh. Even before, we should start as far back as we know.
Yeah.
And the religions that why we have eggs for Easter is because of the female goddess for fertility. Like, these things are so important. I don't know. I want to find fertile eggs way more than an Easter bunny's eggs. That doesn't even make sense. Fertile eggs sound like fun.
Right? Oh, I saw a comment on it was Aaron Ra's video, The Evolution of God. The first comment that was down below said, Freya was the goddess of love and war. If you can't lay 'em, slay 'em.
God, I love it.
So good. Norse mythology is so fun. Just the
Yes.
movie Moana with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the demigod. I can't even remember his name now. It's all of these stories are actually really, really interesting, and I think that they should be taught.
The origin stories, right? That's what they're called. Yeah.
Origin
A
stories.
civilization around the world, their origin stories.
Yeah.
Right.
And it shouldn't just be. It shouldn't just be. I don't think it should be taught in elementary school.
Not at all.
Like none of it. Absolutely
No.
not. I despise private schools.
Unless
Catholic.
they're non-religion, not non-religious.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd rather have none, but I'll take if I had to come together and agree on something, then I'll walk away unhappy and they'll walk away unhappy. And that means that a compromise was actually produced. And that means no more religious private schools. I would be okay with that. Do religion on your own time.
Yeah, and it's that's what diversity looks like, right? When you respect other people's cultures,
Yes.
when you respect other people's religions, because
You
that's part of their culture,
learn from them.
and when you're not afraid of other people's race, when you're not a freaking xenophobe.
Right. Because someone looks different means that you have something to learn from them. You don't look like that. Ask them questions. Tell them, ask me questions. If you see two 2-year-olds that look totally different, walk up to each other. What do? They touch each other's noses. They give each other hugs. Then they start playing with each other's toys. Like it's they don't care. And that we need to start acting a lot more like that. I don't mean eating our boogers. That's not, or smelling our fingers. That's not what I'm talking about. Just the unconditional love for their fellow beings, whether it be a bunny rabbit, a cat, or a fellow friend that looks different than them.
Yeah. So, oh shoot, I forgot what I was going to say.
Don't you hate when I make you do that?
That's not your fault. I was short
It's
attention.
all my fault.
I mean, kind of. No.
Spanking.
God damn it! I really lost where I was gonna go. But
Butter.
I'm trying to look through my notes.
I like butter on my toast.
I again, I think that's what diversity looks like. That's a good thing. You need to share more than just
right
race. Like you can't, and you shouldn't. I heard something good today, and I wrote it towards the bottom of my notes. On the topic of forcing diversity, like affirmative action, or just maybe going to a small town, small business, and trying to force diversity into a small place. That's not always great, but also there is a nice little response to this. There was affirmative action for white people forever. So there is that little fact. And as soon as you flip it for just a couple of decades,
mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah, people freak the fuck out. It's really
How dare you think you can have the same rights as me?
Yes. Equality looks like oppression to the, what's the word I'm looking for? Thought you could finish my sentence.
I know, because I know that one. I love that one.
To the oppressor. Thank you, Nacha.
Yeah, to the oppressor. Thank you.
Equality, yes. Oppression to the oppressor.
Yes. Because then they're like, wait, all these extra things that I have, I won't have so many extra. I'll just have some extra. Oh, I don't know. That means people out there who didn't have anything and will die today will have something. Oh gosh, but I won't have all those extras. This is so hard.
Yeah, it's sick. Okay.
You're a bad person if you think like that.
There's another piece of this. Now, we've said all that we need to say.
Yeah.
Right?
That one. Okay.
There's a whole other section of things that I wanted to get to, and it is important enough that I push through and just make us revisit a lot of this again. I think it's really important. And let me get my notes. Talk for just a second, Christy.
Sure will. I sure will. I want to talk about this amazing book while he looks for this. It's like 3 short paragraphs, and I mean short, even for how fast I read. Why should we pay attention to the great social critics like Marx? Because a lot of people think Marx, socialism, Marx, which I mean, okay, but I've studied a lot of Marx and he doesn't really talk about it. Mentions it here and there. What he does do is criticize capitalism, and he does it so well that I am 100% with on this train right now. American especially now confront serious questions and evidence that our capitalist system is in trouble and has been for a while. It clearly serves the 1% far, far better than what it is doing to the vast mass of people just in this country alone, let alone the world. Marx was a social critic for whom capitalism was not the end of human history. It was just another stepping stone. It was just the latest phase and badly needed transition to something better, from kings to feudalism to capitalism. It's time for something new. We offer this essay. This book is just an essay. We offer this essay now because the power and the usefulness today of Marxist criticism of the capitalist economic system is so needed. So I am going to be reading it aloud to Stacy. So that's how excited I am about this book. Now, Mac, you may take it away.
That said, Christy reminded me of another quote that I forgot that I wanted to write today.
See that?
If we had a diverse society, we wouldn't have 2 political parties.
Boom shakalaka boom.
Let alone 2 right-wing ones.
Right? 2 corporate parties. With the nut jobs on both sides.
Take that and chew on it, and then cry about it.
And then spit it in a tin can. Ding!
I would like to repeat that real quick because I really do want you to think about that. If we had a diverse society, we in the United States would not have 2 main political parties.
You're right.
Disgusting.
You're right.
Like, fuck having a black president. That was token compared to
that's the perfect word for it.
5 or 6 political parties.
Yep.
Token. Okay. That said, this was more supposed to be just more like proof in my pudding here. I really don't want to skip this because it's so important. I've mentioned it a couple times. I will link a video at the end of this as soon as we're done. But I want to share with you what happens in the future when we don't respect other people's cultures, when we don't respect diversity. Because we have a really, really good example. Why are these racist groups, the Proud Boys, Boogaloo Boys, Ku Klux Klan, why are they so worried about white replacement, white genocide?
They're not
Why?
even going to be here for it.
Huh?
They're not even going to be here for it.
Well, what if they are?
Uh,
What would it look like? What would it look like? What
it,
would the changing of our Western white culture look like?
there
Can you
would have
give?
to be a culling. There would have to be a culling. All white people would just be killed. And then you wouldn't be here for it anyway. Like, it's not going to happen in their lifetime. It's not going to happen in their grandchildren's lifetime. But eventually, yes, we're all going to look closer in skin color than we look further apart. And that's not everywhere. There's still going to be Eskimos, indigenous, who are darker, and people who migrated there who are white. There's still going to be people who live in Greenland who are white hair and pale skin. There's those things aren't going to change.
So let me say it like this, and I will premise it with this. This will sound bad. Kill the white Westerner, but save the man. Now I'm going to repeat that in its original phrase. Kill the Native American, kill the Indian,
Yep.
save the man.
Yep. That's why they killed all the parents and took the kids to schools and beat them and tortured them if they spoke their native language. And that's why we lost hundreds of indigenous languages and cultures and dances and prayers and people. Did you know that not until 1978, I was 2 years old, 1978, and these United States of America, where we have freedom of religion, the Native Americans, the indigenous of this country, were not allowed to do their prayers in public or anywhere. They were illegal. They would go to prison until 1978 because their prayers, they needed to, like he said, kill the Indian and save the man. They weren't Christian, therefore they had to be summoning some demon up to kill all the white people or something. Who knows? It was a control thing.
It got to the point, even in 1912, where it was written in a letter, like they didn't keep count of all the dead Indian children, Native American children, because there was a lot of death. It looked bad, but it was necessary for their overall solution to the Indian problem.
Like Hitler's final solution.
Final solution. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's final solution.
Actually, that's where he got his final solution, was how America handled the native indigenous people. So
Yep.
put that in your smoking pipe of it.
And we started the eugenics as well. All of history needs taught. How many times do I need to say that? All of the history needs to be taught. This is something that is as American as apple pie. Kill the Indian, save the man. It is just as American.
Yep.
And it needs to be taught like that. It's disgusting.
I mean, there's more. We promised the Chinese had railroads and we didn't. So we promised their wealthiest families to send us your best workers to show us how to do this, and we will make them the foreman. They'll run their own crews. We made them slaves. They never got papers. They could never vote. They died here. And when they protested, they died. That's how we do things, or did things, or do things still. Damn it. Not everywhere. There's a lot of good people, and there's a lot of leftist content coming out, guys. We should do a show on all the amazing leftist content. And I did have when you are finished with that, I want to talk about and ask if it's something that people would be interested in me covering. Because if so, then I'm all for it.
I know they would be, but yes, you guys should. Yeah, we should visit that for a minute. I do want to just go ahead and finish this up here, I suppose.
Yeah, no,
But
do
it's
do.
yeah, do. And to be clear, this wasn't just the United States, right? Canada did this as well. There's a lot of it done in Mexico. Everywhere white European settlers went, this kind of stuff happened.
Yeah.
They kidnapped children, told the tribes and the families that we're just taking them to school. They have to go to school. And they didn't care about the consequences of what it would do to their culture, what it would do to the psychology of these poor people, who some of them are still alive, who went through this.
Yeah.
You can hear them talk about it.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Some of the things that they remember are just the screaming and the crying. Sometimes it coming from them, from the people next to them, and from the little kids next to them who died the next day.
Right.
It's like it was a war.
It was.
It was a war, but it
They
was
lost.
not fought by hardly anyone.
Hmm.
And the POWs were the little kids, children. Again, as American as apple pie. This is as American as we can get. And so is trying to be more diverse. There's two sides of the coin, right? At least.
There are. America's a very complicated country. I mean, the man who wrote all men, all men are created equal, as he's writing this, he has a slave that's helping him dress, that's helping him run around the tent, that's making his tea for him.
Mm-hmm.
Are all men created equal, or is that not a man because he's not your color? Like, I understand we can't judge our time at their time. Their time was different. Yeah. However, there were people then who knew it was wrong and knew it was so wrong that they left the areas where slavery was because they could not even be around it. And they helped slaves escape because they knew it was wrong. So, yes, I can judge it. yes, I can.
But some people really looked at it and thought that they were right. And
they like that money.
Yeah. There's a lot of research that shows that it's not just that they thought white people were superior, like as a race. It's just that they thought they didn't have race. White people didn't have race. They were just man.
They were, yes.
The problem of race was for all the races, right?
Exactly.
They were other races. They were lesser. I mean, hardly even lesser. They just weren't even the same creatures. Hardly.
Right. They thought of them as animal, as chattel.
Yeah. And most of this, sadly, was justified by religion.
Oh, the church sanctioned all of it. If you were to go to any land where people were of any other religion or color than the white Christian man, you had God's, like, his blessing to take that land, whether by force or by force.
Yeah, and that's what they did. And I mean, you see it in the Old Testament as well, with the Canaanites and the.
You see a lot of foreskin being thrown around too, so don't believe everything in that book.
But I wanted to read one of the justifications for what they did to these children and the tribes and families. They said that
I'm
it
so
was
glad Rage is here. We have our own indigenous visitor tonight, who is a very, very awesome person. The Raging Atheist is what he goes
crazy.
by. Yes, I'm sure everyone here knows him.
I would
But
love to have you on here sometime.
I would love to have him on here. Been
But
trying for a while. He's busy.
I believe it. I understand busy, but anyways, I want to get to that line
Yes,
because
get
I've
to it,
skipped
get
it
to it.
like 4 times now. The reason is because they were looking for that final solution to their Indian problem, and they justified all of this because they were bringing capitalism, industrialism, and Christianity, and just basic civilization to uncivilized people. And take that even just the last part, bringing civilization and Christianity to uncivilized people. And that, in a nutshell, a very true nutshell, is what white genocide is all about. Is they're worried that they're going to lose white culture, Westerner culture, which is Christianity, capitalism. That's that's the civilization that they want. And if they lose that, if more religions are taught in schools, or if more economics and capitalism are taught
Right.
in schools, it could very well ruin, if taught equally,
It would change everything. Not
would
possibly. It
everything.
would change everything.
And they think these other ideas are uncivilized, godless,
Well, that's what they say about them. I don't believe that they think.
uncivilized.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the answer to the question that I asked 25 minutes ago.
Right.
Why
Fear.
are they so afraid of this great replacement? Because they think that everyone else is uncivilized and bad. And it's a genuine fear. And I want to give
Ignorant fear. It might be genuine, but it's genuinely ignorant and
it.
genuinely
I,
fearful.
as I said, I really want to try to steelman the
Yeah. No,
opposition.
you did a good job.
And I want to say one last thing to actually give them an out, um, because I want to do better than what they do and humanize the opposition. Is we know in our set of knowledge that we are pattern-seeking creatures.
Yes.
If you see on TV, even, or if you see in real life, uh, someone of a different race, or a different gender, or a different ideology being rude to you, or saying something that you don't quite understand and it worries you because it sounds evil, very quickly will your pattern seeking brain be like, that different is a scary, bad, evil different. And
Yeah.
that's just the baseline of our programming.
Yeah.
I want to
No.
give them an out, say it with compassion. That's a true thing. It makes me angry often. It
Yeah,
makes me
that's our
really
monkey brain.
mind my thoughts often. But that's not fair. When you take a step back and you really try to look at the old couple who are making Clarence robes because they believe they're making a difference, it really can humanize them a bit. And it makes you
Right.
sad for them.
Yeah.
But
A bad ideology.
aren't we all to some point,
Yeah.
right? So um, that's that's kind of the core of what I wanted to get to tonight. Is that is
Okay.
that they think other is bad. Xenophobia is really the word of the night, um, and it's pervasive. We're pattern-seeking creatures. We want to feel safe. We see a couple things that are bad, and then that sets in a pattern, and it stays bad. And it's hard to break an ideology and a worldview. It just
It is.
is. And I've said multiple times throughout this show, if you're
Done.
new here, maybe it's time to hear it now. Um, that this capitalism, this capitalist country that we have, this society, it doesn't it doesn't give you time to live,
Mm-mm.
let alone think.
I'm
Right? You
perfect.
have to keep moving. You have to provide for your family, whether that's making lunches, driving them around, going to work, going to second or third work, trying to get a real career on the side of your first and second job. You don't have time for ideology. You don't have time for philosophy. You don't have time for your own religion, let alone looking at someone else's. Like you don't have time for enlightenment of any kind of sort, um, or just self-reflection. How
Yeah.
are you supposed to break out of a racist worldview, especially when part of your worldview is education is bad?
Right.
Don't go to college. The libs will get you, and they're all Satan-loving worshipers.
Yeah. Oh,
um,
baby blood drinking, Hillary loving.
yeah,
Don't forget about that.
all of those libtards. You don't need college. You don't. They'll just teach you godless
They'll
things.
learn you stuff you don't want to learn.
And this is another reason why we have on the rise flat earthers still. Uh,
Flurfers.
the list of it goes on and on. It really does. This is a really big, deep, dark hole. This is where I wanted to end it, not going into another rabbit trail.
Right.
But
Right. Okay.
this links together.
Yeah, it does.
So think humanist, for godless sake. We're not done. Christy had something else to say, but I
I
wanted to
do. But
tie
it
that
is
up.
important to think humanist for godless sakes, besides being humanist. Okay, so guys, I have two things that I'm thinking about because we're doing every fortnight. So, not next week, but the week after. So that gives me time to do really good stories. How many of you guys know about the French Revolution? The one that lasted for 18 months, where the actual leftists, the Marxists, they weren't called Marxists at the time, the actual leftists, the communists took over Paris for 18 months. And they did all these amazing things. How many of you guys know about this story? Because I never learned about it. But I'm learning about it now, and my mind is blown. My mind is so blown, and I want to share it with you guys because not only did they accomplish just instant things, like they shut down pawn shops and any kind of predatory financial banking, and that was done. That was, you couldn't make money off of poor people anymore. um the top ranking people, like that had the toughest jobs, got paid the same as everybody, got paid the same working a living wage. Everybody got health care, everybody got education from preschool through they just took over Paris. The story is amazing. Okay, so that's one of my choices if that excites any of my nerds. The other one is there are some badassery left channels going on, coming out pretty new. Some have been around for a little while, but there are some really good leftist channels and networks and websites that I could do, a good 30 minutes on breaking, like, here's this show and here's um what I like about it and what you should check out and how you can learn. There's so much that I would love to share. That way you guys have a list of things where you're like, I'm kind of in the mood to do some physics. I don't know physics. I didn't take physics. in high school. I'm all about some physics right now because of amazing teachers online. So I can, those, I'm going to let you guys choose. So it can be the French Revolution, where the left actually took over. It didn't end well. Everybody died. I'm going to put that out there because that's important, because that could change how you feel about the story.
You want a good
Or
story or a bad story?
all the badassery left content that is coming out that's actually left content. It's not, anti-SJW, or, we hate these three people and we're going to talk about these three people that we hate all the time, or just negative stuff. It's actually leftist stuff where we're talking about international leftism, which I think more people need to watch these. They're undersubbed. So Eat the Rich. I love that. I don't think they would taste very good though. I don't.
If using them right. What?
Yeah, we'd have to tenderize the shit out of them with a hammer, I think. I'm so humanist, doesn't it show? Obviously, they'd be dead first. Gosh. You know the hammers that have the pokey things for tenderizing?
The
Obviously,
tenderizing.
we'll do it right. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So my grammar doesn't work all the time, okay? That's why I want to eat the rich.
Yeah.
Don't eat people. People are friends, not food. Okay? All right. Regardless,
Hashtag people ain't food. Hashtag people ain't food.
guillotines for the rich. Yes, the raging atheists. Guillotines for the rich. They were not playing. All those the judges who took money, they all got beheaded. Like there were no more. They didn't just eat the rich. They got rid of them. They were done. But they had been doing this to the poor people
and they
for always. So yeah, it's a fascinating story. Richard Wolff actually did a whole 4 lecture series on it, and my nerd ass stayed up 4 nights in a row listening to 3 hours each. They were so good. So then I had to go and study it myself, and so yes, if you think about it, the French Revolution was like a mini Armageddon. Well, because well, your take.